Inside the Birds is back. What's going on, everybody? Geoff, Mosher, Adam Caplan is Inside the Birds in the middle of the week. Week 3 almost upon us. The Eagles and the Rams will duke it out on Sunday. We got injury intel. We got transaction intel. We're going to make fun of Howie a little bit in our intel because why not? And then we're going to get into some of the, not the matchup, but what's going on with the Rams and what they'll be bringing to town. So a lot going on, and and I would say, Adam, predictably, it's funny. I feel like, especially the last 3 years, you could almost predict what the gripes are going to be. As soon as the game, I can predict like the sports talk radio cycle or the questions we're going to be asked in interviews, football at 4, and what the public sentiment will be. I mean, right? It was just like last year at this time. There's something wrong with the defense. Vic Fangio, not the right guy.
Oh, the Green Bay game. Yeah. You know what? I'm so glad you brought that real quick. I'm so glad you brought this up. I thought about that on Tuesday. Because the Patullo stuff, look, it's people they want him fired already. It's so funny.
Yeah,
look, we'll see. He's got to prove himself, but
sure,
people forget because they barely won that game. It was a great game. The great game in Brazil, it was a really fun game, but they thought Vic was over the hill. A lot of the over the hill. Why they hire him? The players in Miami who buried him were right.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, you got to let people coach.
Even
for this town, they going off the rocker. Good.
I know, and part of it is being spoiled. Like, you're winning so much, like you can't even, you're not happy when you only win ugly.
Well, you shouldn't settle though. No, but you should.
No. I know that.
But this is really next level. This guy, he shouldn't be learning on the job, and this, that, and the other. I'm like, my God, the guy's called 2 games, one good half, by the way. I love what they did against Dallas in the first half. Both teams sucked in the second half of the Dallas game. Okay. Yeah. Want to criticize him for this game? I'm okay with it, but my God, the guy should be fired.
Well, yeah. Or this is the Brian. My favorite one is this looks like the Brian Johnson offense and not the Kellen.
Well, it's running pretty much the same offense. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, I was like, I mean, I know, I don't expect everybody to have all 22 and watch NFL Pro, but if you're listening to Inside the Birds for the last 3 years, you know that it doesn't matter who the coordinator has been. The offensive concept and design has generally been the same. Now, if you want to say, okay, well, Kellen had a better feel for when to call what, that's fine because he was an experienced coordinator. And by the way, it didn't start off that way for Kellen. He had to adjust himself as well. And so it hasn't started off that great for Patullo, but it's not the idea that he's running something completely different, or that Brian Johnson or that Kellen Moore were running a totally different offense is crazy. It's the same concept and design, right?
Yeah, I know Jalen said it was 90% different. Whatever that's really not what happened.
Right. Although I think Jalen was reacting to what Kellen, because remember that was in the training camp OTAs. That was what Kellen was trying to bring to the offense. Remember, we saw some under center, we saw some things in camp that we
different
saw
stuff.
And then
90%.
But by the time the season started and then got to week 4, it was back to being what it was going to be. What it's been.
It's interesting though about that week 1 game against Green Bay. Everyone was, oh my God, this is the kind of stuff we were looking for. Fans were going out of their mind. They were loving it. Then it would slow down, and then it looked like the Brian Johnson offense, or whatever. He was a play caller, but it was really Sirianni's offense, of course. And Hurts got hot late. We mentioned 50,000 times the Pittsburgh game, which was pretty damn special. Jalen was so good in that game, and I've always pointed to that game. We're saying he can do it, no matter what you think, and no matter what people knock a lot of things about him. But the blueprint was there. To say he can't throw over the middle is just nonsense. Because you go to that game, he had a number of throws. Really, this was like, wow, where was this been?
Yeah.
But look, let's relax here. Even if they would have lost last week, at least I give the fans credit for they won the game. They're still pissed off. But again, one thing I'll back them. Stop trying to fire the guy, Patullo, but you should never settle in business or whatever business you own. Right. If you underachieved in a certain area, even though if you had a good day, but if you underachieve in a certain part of your football team or your businlike you don't accept it.
Right. And the good thing is we know that Nick and Kevin Patullo and the new quarterback coach no one's going to work this week thinking, thinking that they don't have to get better or they don't have to do anything different. They were pretty open about that. They need to get the explosive element back to their offense. They need to do things better. And so they will. They'll try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, on your point on that, I mean, I charted the game. I had a couple hours to kill the other day. I mean, first of all, I said this in the post game. I was more right than I thought. The fans who thought they were right, they were right. They ran, if you take the tush push, goal line carries, short yardage carries, I mean, they really ran the ball on first down over 80% of the time.
Yeah.
Like, that can't happen.
Yeah.
Like that's I'm
part
sorry.
of the predictable nature, right?
Yeah, I'm with. Look, we knew this was coming on the YouTube comments, just like last year when Hurts was going through some stuff. The Hurts apologists, of course, some guy called me a Hurts apologist, like 2 people did. When I said that you got to understand, Jalen had a lot on his mind. Like he said 6 different coordinators. He was in his own head a little bit. One guy called me I had to remove it because he called me a name. Like you can't be called a names, man. He called me to Hurts apologist bleep.
3 years old.
I mean, I'm like, people can't make up their mind. They think I'm an apologist. I'm a hater.
That's how you know you're doing your job. When you
exactly.
both sides
we're trying to be fair.
You know you're objective. Yeah,
right. We're trying to be objective and fair. This is based on 27 years of you and I, our combined knowledge and talks with coordinators. John has been on our show 50,000 times. Okay. Sitting in with, I'm going to give you a story, which I've not told before. I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. Sitting with Greg and Jaws for 20 years. 10 years. So Jaws, I said to Jaws one year, I remember this discussion, and I don't know which quarterback it was we were watching, but I said, Jaws, what did you do when you would struggle? What would they do? They said they would bring me back to ground zero. They would not even let me think. It was 1.5, 1.7 balls out. And Jaws would say, build my confidence, get me into a rhythm. Then extend the target, extend a little bit, let him throw a little bit farther. Because when you're in your own head in football, at quarterback, I guess you could see it on tape. You could see like when a quarter like Hurts was holding on the ball a little bit too much, as we all know. He tends to do this a lot. That's when we think we don't know this, only he does. And maybe Sirianni knows it. Maybe Scott Leffler know this. Maybe Petullo know it. They know it. Maybe they don't. They can't get into his own head. I've asked a lot of coaches this. They think they know, but you can't know for sure. But the bottom line is, Jaws, I remember him telling me point blank. He said, listen, it's tough sometimes when you're in your own head, but you just don't get coached. They just don't leave you alone. They're trying to help you. They're going to make it easier for you. They're going to reduce what they're asking you to do and just get it out of your hands as fast as they can. And that's what Petullo's got to do. Is Kellen Moore went through this with Jalen last year? Move the pass targets in, get him comfortable, get him confident.
100%. I would think that we'll see that against the Rams. They haven't run as many. I don't know how much RPO has been in their offense the first 2 weeks, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did try to ran a few just to get them into a rhythm. But like I think that speaks to the overriding point. They know they have to get better. They're not sitting here picking fights with the public. Like, no, we're 2-0. We're fine.
Right, but they could be 2-0.
Even said Nick Sirianni said, somebody asked him about disciplining team. Are you gonna ratchet up your emphasis on discipline because they had a lot of penalties in the first week? And he said, if I pick now to make discipline an emphasis, then I've already lost. Like that, right. You're working on everything all the time and you're self-scouting all the time. And there's no way you come back after 2 weeks and look at your passing game performance and say, okay, we're good here. We get turnovers, our defense plays well. We don't have to get better. That's just not how
100%. Yeah, they're not going to accept this. And the other thing on kind of sort of in the area you're talking about, we know that Nick and Kevin Petullo are like best friends, are very close.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember, I'm just going to bring this up. I remember when Jim Fossil, the late Jim Fossil, and Brian Billick were very close. And Billick had a fire. Fossil is a good friend. Mm-hmm. When he was the Ravens OC. I think it was the Ravens OC. And I'm sure that was tough for Brian. But you got to be able to coach your coaches. And now, again, it's only been 2 games. It's been the passing game numbers have been less than stellar. And just you heard what Greg Cosell said on our show Inside the Tape. You kind of know when Greg hates to criticize coaches, but you can tell when he kind of like, what is this looking like here?
Yeah.
Like, he has his own way of doing it.
Yep.
Okay, we all saw it. It's not good enough, but they know it. As you nailed it. If us jabronis see it, they see it. Come on.
Exactly.
Hey, you know that one guy in the group chat who hit a 5-leg parlay week 1 and he wouldn't shut up about it for the rest of the season? Sounds like Caplan, right? Yeah, it could be him. It could be you, and we would all want to be you. My bookie makes it stupid easy to get in on the action, whether it's college ball, NFL, super contest, and survivor pools, all the spreads, player props, and in-game lines that you could want all under one roof. What more could you want than that? If you're new to my bookie, use our code, THEBIRDS, THEBIRDS, the birds. Use the code, and any bet you choose up to $500 is fully covered. Make your play, and if it doesn't hit, you get it right back when you opt in using your bet back bonus token. There is no better time to jump in right now. No better place to play. Football is back. Let's make some money with my bookie.
Hey, Philly fans, game day is stressful enough. Parking, traffic, long lines. We've all been there. But when it comes to your cannabis, Camden Apothecary makes it easy. This is the dispensary for sports fans, just minutes outside of Philly with plenty of free parking. You'll be in and out fast, no hassle, no waiting. And they don't just care about convenience. Camden Apothecary is all about the guest experience. Their staff makes sure you feel taken care of every time you walk in. Plus, they carry only the best quality cannabis at the fairest prices. So whether you're stocking up for the tailgate, the watch party, or celebrating a big win, you know you're getting the good stuff without overpaying. They even show love to the community with specials for fans, students, service members, and healthcare pros. Camden Apothecary, top quality cannabis, great prices, and an experience made for Philly fans 21 and up. All right. Speaking of some jabronis, no, I'm just kidding. That was a good segue. We are going to make fun of Howie a little bit. My friend Jimmy,
he's the best.
Yeah, Howie's great. Yeah, my friend Jimmy Kimsky at Philly Voice, who is my coworker, he's really
awesome.
He's really known for these really helpful stories, like these trackers. Like he'll go the extra mile. Like he's got the Bryce Huff tracker on Philly Voice. You can go find it.
Is that right?
Because you know that there's like a conditional pick that matters based on how many sacks Huff has. So each week he goes and shows people whether Huff had, which by the way, Huff had a sack last week. So I think it's 8 changes the pick. And he's known for doing a lot of these. He's the comp pick tracker. He does he gives you all the right. I'm going to have to urge Jimmy to do either a roster tango tracker or just a Kenyon Green transaction tracker, because lo and behold, after getting released from the team last week, you thought he would be brought back to the practice squad because that's usually how the tango game works. But no, the Eagles had an opening on their 53, which I'm guessing now has been always the plan from the beginning, and they re-signed Kenyon Green. Now he's not good enough in their mind to be active any of the week that he was actually on the 53.
Yeah.
He's been on the practice squad and been waived from that, but he is good enough now to be on the 53 and probably be inactive again.
I mean, you can't be waived from practice squad. You can release.
That's right. Terminated from the practice squad.
Right. I'm this one I cannot figure out because you're right. We usually we know why a transaction happened. This boggles my mind. The practice squad's perfect for him. He needs major work.
Right.
It's kind of like how he won't let go this one.
I think they consider their elevations, their 53rd spot, and I don't know why they do, because it gives them the ability to elevate different players to different spots as opposed to having one player.
Sure.
So I think that's why they give the 53rd spot to a developmental player, but then use the elevations as the actual sort of the actual active person on game day. Does that make sense?
Oh no. Obviously, if they're going to be elevated, they're playing like that. Right. You wouldn't. Very rare for. What happens is sometimes teams will elevate a guy only for injury reasons. Because if a guy's a game time decision, if the pregame workout worked well, then the guy they elevated, and it's a shame they do this. They wasted one.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen teams do this. It happens every 3 or 4 weeks.
Right.
That the guy winds up not playing because the guy who they thought might not play wound up playing. But this one's baffling to me. The practice squad would be perfect for him, but I told this story on our Patreon chat. Someone who used to work for Howie some years ago told me that it's one of the ways he became the NFL's best GM. I don't think it's arguably he is, but he's different. But he started to just give up on trying to cover up mistakes, like, okay, try to belabor it by bringing the guy back, and hoping he'd be good. Like, he'd just say, you know what, I missed. Hey, it happens, and he'd move on. This Kenyon Green, I didn't see it in training camp. We look into it. It just didn't look good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we know he got hurt with a shoulder injury, but it wound up not being bad at all. He's healthy. He's fine. And I know they really liked him for the draft when he came out. Greg Cosell told us how good he was in college. Well, he's not that player anymore.
No.
He's the guy. So, and I know Stout's, it's a miracle worker, but this one is going to have to be his biggest miracle, because I mean, talk about not seeing it. Did they see something? What? We have no idea.
It's funny because he's out there. Like, any team could have signed him to their practice.
Nobody wanted him.
Yeah.
Although, actually, let me amend that. That on your point, that may be why they signed him to the 53. Maybe they were going to lose him to another team's practice squad.
And then that's when you say, "Be my guest," right?
Go ahead, right? But that's not the fact that they signed in the practice. The 53 clearly tells you something. Again, every transaction tells you a story. It's got to be something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I know we haven't found out yet, but I would have bet $50 that the reason why Jack Stoll was signed to the Saints 53 is because of what they know.
Mm-hmm.
When Goddard got hurt, where are you getting a wide tight end on the street? They know him.
Right.
Magically, he got signed to their 53 the next day after he was elevated for the previous game. Magic.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the only sense I make of it is if you wanted Kenyon Green on your practice squad right now, you have to cut somebody to your practice squad to make room.
Sure.
And by doing it this way, like I said, it's like it's really that the people that they elevate are it's like they like having flex options at the bottom of the roster for game day, because they're not going to want to use some of these guys every single week. Where if you signed Epps to your team, your 53, and then put Green on the practice squad, you may not want to use Epps for the entire season. So that's what they're judicious with their elevations. Now, Latu may be a guy who was elevated for the first time with Ben Van Sumer out for the year that they may eventually want for the year. And when he's out of elevations, maybe you'll see Latu signed to the 53, and then you'll see Kenyon Green waived from the 53 and then brought back to the practice squad. But for now, it just gives them that flexibility to just use guys from the practice squad as their bottom roster.
Maybe
player.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
But Epps, by the way, as we go through the transactions, he just had his second elevation. So, I have my own tracker, I keep track of this stuff. So, that's surprising that, but I get it. He's like a backup protector, so plays with special teams. He acts as also the force safety. It's tough to get through a game with just three.
Right.
But, Latu's got his first, did a good job in his 6 snaps.
Mm-hmm.
And, but Lewis Cine is gone. I mean, we kind of chronicled his, his situation for months, but didn't work. They waived him off IR. Nobody claimed him, and it wasn't. He was not waived with an injury settlement because he's healthy enough. So they just cut him, and that was it.
He'll be back. I guarantee he'll be back.
You think?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Practice squad. Practice squad.
It would be fun. Nothing at this point. This has been some crazy stuff. Anyway.
Sports are all about competition. Every snap, every possession, every clutch moment matters. That same energy is what 1v1 Me brings to video games. Every single day, you can watch and stake on matchups in Madden, NBA 2K, FC, and Call of Duty Search and Destroy. All the games are streamed live. Every match has refs, and payouts are instant. And these aren't just random online lobbies. These are the best players in the scene, pros, streamers, and rivals. With season playoffs and the championship game on the line, every game matters. Over $100 million has already been paid out on the app, and the community is growing fast. If you're a sports fan, a gamer, or just someone who loves having a little extra on the line, 1v1 Me is where you need to be. It's not just about winning. It's about the bragging rights too. Every match has a chat going crazy, and you can back your picks in real time. Download today and use code BIRDS. Your first stake on the app is risk-free. That's code BIRDS for a risk-free first stake. All right, let's get through some of the injuries or the injury updates. It was a very good sign. A couple of guys. Obviously, Tanner McKee was limited at practice, I believe. And he was limited in the practice leading up to the week 2 game against the Chiefs in the last, I think
he wasn't ready though, because he was the quarterback. Yeah. So.
Right. But so maybe there's an opportunity for him to be active this week. Yeah. I don't know if they're ready yet for him to be the number 2, but there could be a
he's getting closer to no. That's your point. And then Shipley, I'd be very. He is in practice. He didn't work Wednesday. I mean, I'd be very surprised if he's active this week. So Dylan played 10 snaps last week. Boy, do they need a pass protector on third down, man. Barkley, what's that?
Who's that guy right now?
They don't have him. That's why I brought it up. We told folks, no matter what was out there in March of 2024 was all wrong. He's not a good pass protector. I know some of the stat services said he was. He's not. We knew that for a fact.
Yeah, every once in a while he gives you a good one. I think
stones you. No, what happened was these fans who don't know any better. So on social media, this is what's bad about social media. Someone put out this phenomenal chip that he had. I don't know how many years ago it was. So it got viral, and everyone thought he's a great pass protector. So we checked into it for multiple sources who would know. We're not going to go into how he got it. And they both agreed he doesn't sort well. Pre-snap sorting, not good. Despite it being built like a rock, he doesn't angle block well. He doesn't line up well. And he struggled a little bit in week 1. So we know he works hard at it. I could tell you as a fact. But
yeah.
And Shipley did make some improvement, but he's just so explosive, Shipley also. But they just, without Gainwell, it's a problem.
Yeah, you're right. The times I can remember last year when we did Inside the Tape with Greg, where we would highlight every once in a while, you would see Saquon with a good blitz pickup, is when it was sort of like he knew from the start where it's coming from. Like the line is going to slide protect to the left. He's going to take the blitzer that comes to the right. That's his guy. And you can see him get in position immediately, take on the guy. But when you're dealing with guys who are more crafty and send guys, just like Spags did last week from different spots, and you're not quite sure, that's where he kind of struggles to get his body in the right position and his leverage and everything, which is more often than not that you're going to see those kind of blitzes.
Maybe, just maybe, because Latu is a fullback now, I wouldn't worry about if he ever catches a pass during the season. But on your point earlier, maybe sometime this season he's on that 53 for good, and he becomes that guy on third. Look, they got enough pass catchers. And look, he could block for the run end. The guy could block. Greg said on our pregame show, I asked him point blank, tell us about what you thought of Latu's tape. And he goes, as a matter of fact, I'm going to get it out right now. He's very strong in his praise as a blocker. I mean, for the limited numbers he had for 2 years as a tight end at Bama.
Yeah.
To be drafted in the 3rd round, he said he liked his tape as a pass catcher, but he said, really, a guy could block. And Andrew said that. DeCecco, he stoned Campbell in one practice. I know it's one play, but he saw him block somebody. But Greg said on his college tape, it's pretty good. So
yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that you go to Alabama and play for Saban and you're a tight end. You know how to block. I mean, that's their all. Excuse me,
all of them. They're so well schooled. Smitty, you go through all the. I was Dickerson, but the professionalism, the way that they play, the way that they're coached. Boy, man, Howie and all ignored the SEC for decades. Not anymore, man. Why do they win? Go to the SEC.
Yeah, go get where the talent is.
That's right.
All right, so that's the situation with Shipley, which they're called an oblique. I feel like they tried to pass it off as not a big deal, but whatever.
No, but they're pretty. But
close.
As someone who's I've strained my oblique before. Yeah, your ribs are there. You have ribs.
Yeah. But if you have a broken rib, you can also call it a broken rib. But if you have the opportunity to call it an oblique, which doesn't sound for those, the uninitiated as serious, you go with the oblique.
But although, what really bothers me, it chased my skin, and what the Ravens for years refused to say hamstring, and they'd say thigh.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Well, no, but by the way, your front, okay, is your quad.
Hamstring
back. Anyway, I'm just saying.
True. Very true. All right, not Dickerson. Goddard. Good sign. Good sign that Wednesday.
Positive, but doesn't mean he's playing.
Positive. No, not doesn't mean anything, but it's positive that he's out there. He's got
limited. It's good.
Brace on the knee.
Yeah.
I think we say this quite often. What matters most is the response to Wednesday's practice. Does he get back to practice Thursday? Even if he's limited, that's not a step back. If he's full, that's a great step forward.
Then he, by the way,
then you know you're good. Yeah.
I learned this from Mike Shanahan. I don't know him, but I remember he would. Now, for those of you who played fantasy for 25 years, like Geoff and I, they would call it. They had nicknames for Shanahan with the injury reports. Remember, they also got fined heavily.
Yeah.
But he did a great job of explaining one year about setbacks. He goes, guys, you're gonna call me a liar, whatever the language he used. He goes, I'm just telling you. Guys have setbacks. He goes, ask me after the next practice, and I'll tell you.
That's right.
But I don't want to give you bad information when the guy has a setback, as you just said. Let's see how he reacts to this practice. So Goddard didn't do anything last week. He works some Wednesday. They got to see Thursday today. How did he respond to it? That's what Shanahan was saying. I learned a lot from the way he explained it. It's very calm the way he explained it. I'm like, okay, it was really good. I learned a lot from that.
Right.
When coaches are willing to tell Sirianni, when he used to give good information on injuries before someone shut him down,
right?
Jeffrey, I don't know, but because he would explain, hey guys, I don't want to give you the wrong information because then you're gonna get on my case about it. This is a couple years ago, before we shut everybody down on it. But I thought he did a great job of explaining. I get that. I felt it when he said that.
I'll say this though, Adam. One reason I would be more optimistic that he's gonna be all right and do well is that he has a knee injury. They were inside, and he practiced in a limited.
Oh, because the rain. That's a great point. I did not know that. Is that right on Wednesday?
They were inside because of the rain, and that surface is murderous on knees. So he must have felt confident enough to be able to do limited work there.
I forget who I asked. I said, "Hey, is it still?" Because I've been in the practice bubble in years. Someone told me, said it's still hard, although it might have been changed, maybe the bottom, but. I remember when I still have it. A very, very, very small tear in my knee, in my left knee. I didn't have to have surgery. Just it's got a little crunch to it, just a little bit of crunch to it. But anyway, I barely feel it. But anyway, I remember the last few times I was in that practice bubble, I'd have to leave and walk outside because I couldn't handle it. It was so hard. I have to rest my knee. I have to go outside. Come back, go outside.
Yeah.
And it's awful. I don't know how, I've told that story about Marlon Jackson's career's pretty much ended towards Achilles right in front of us.
That was a terrible day.
It's terrible. Yeah. I still see it happen right in front of me. It was just heartbreaking, but goddamn turf, that turf, it's concrete is what it is. I'm sorry. Concrete.
Feels like the vet. It's like their little mini vet.
And Mike Reichenbach, by the way, I want to mention this, Mike, who, former Eagles ILB, as Vic would say, who, by the way, went to the same school as Vic Fangio. Good job, Andrew DiCecco, pointing out East Stroudsburg State. They're now called University, whatever. But they were kind of there almost at the same time, by the way. Oh, wow. But we have the show up there. You can listen on Pod, right? It's on Pod.
It's on Pod platform. Yep, it's on YouTube. You can, easier on the Pod. It's great.
And it's funny you should bring that up. He told the vet story about what it was like to play on it. Oh.
Yeah. If you got bad knees, you're usually not out there, even at nowadays. So the fact that he was there, coming back from that injury, I think is a good sign.
Good. Yep.
Landon Dickerson, really good sign. He's off the injury report, so not dealing with the back as far as we know. Yeah, it is good. I'd still love to see him play a full game, play great, not limp off, not feel like grab at something. So that'll be good.
Well, I want to mention something which I mentioned on our Patreon chat. I think people should understand. And by the way, great job. Everyone was in there. We did an hour. I went overtime. I was really chippy in that one. I had a rough day on Wednesday, but anyway, I was a little chippy, but we had a lot of fun. It was great. Great questions, great conversation. But we were talking, I said, guys, just because the guy's not on the injury report does not mean he's himself. Juergens barely practiced in the offseason. If he didn't have it, he didn't have an offseason. He was rehabbing. Didn't practice a lot in training camp, right?
Right.
Dickerson would wind up hurting his knee, as we know, in the night practice. Then he had the trim, meniscus trim. Mm-hmm. He's got the back problem. You always have to wonder how much he weighs. He looks very heavy, right? Okay. Lane Johnson's an older player. We may have seen the best of this offensive line. I'm not trying to be gloom and doom. I'm just warning people because the run blocking hasn't been quite as good as we're used to. Maybe they're not as good elite as we've seen before.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I mean, I think, they're still really good, but there have been some breakdowns and some looseness that you haven't ordinarily seen through 2 weeks. But I also remember a couple of years ago, they had not a great start and just kept getting better as it was going
Then they were
on.
elite. Yeah.
The JalenCarter thing has been weird because you could see him on TV sometimes like grabbing, or if you're there, grabbing his wrist or hand. I think Jeff McClain asked him about it. He said he was dealing with something like it felt like a little sting version, not a stinger, but just like a sting. And Vic addressed it at his press conference and said, yeah, he's dealing with something, but it's not a big deal. So, I think the biggest issue with Jalen now is that you could tell, and Vic said it too, is that he's not at peak conditioning yet.
How about that? God bless Vic.
Yeah.
He is unreal. He's, again, we said this when he was hired. He reminded us of Jim Johnson. Jim Johnson was a wonderful, I've said this many times over the years. He's my favorite coach over in this market to cover. He's the nicest guy in the world. I used to love when he'd tell us stuff and go, man, I should have said that. And he'd laugh. Vic doesn't give an F. He just says it, and he's telling the truth. And he talked about his weight again. It's not the first time he talked about Carter's weight.
Right. Now,
understand, Jalen Carter's had problems with one of his shoulders since college. This is on his scouting report from clubs that we talked to about Carter. So, look, he's on the shoulder. The wrist or hand, whatever it is not listed, but the shoulder is.
Right.
So we've got to keep an eye on that. Jordan Davis, you saw him limp off, not listed. He's not listed. That's good.
Good job. And then I know Jalex Hunt was dealing with a hip in the week leading up to the game, and he's off the report as well.
Yep. So only 4 players, by the way. 4 players are listed.
Yeah. Great. Now, I was going to say Nakobe Dean. I know people have been wondering about him because he is on IR. Started the year
PUP. He's actually on PUP.
Yeah, right. PUP. Right. So that means he misses the first 4 weeks.
Games.
Right.
Yes.
First 4 games. Thank you. It is the first 4 weeks because there's no bye.
Technically, right. But just so you know, I didn't know this until like 7 or 8 years ago. I thought it was weeks. It's actually games. Now, it used to be first 6 games. It's now 4. They changed the rule a couple years ago. Thank God.
Yeah.
It's a stupid rule. But
so he can start practicing. Who's game 4? That's the Tampa game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you realize they played Tampa in week 4 last year at 1 Eastern? How does that happen? They're not in the same division. How?
I know. It's very odd. And then they played them at 1 o'clock, I think, a couple of years in a row, or like right at the same time, or in the same.
Last year was, last year for sure was, and that was the horror game when everybody got hurt or didn't play and got hurt. But yeah, he could start practicing week 5. They once he starts practicing, they have 21 days. It sounds like he said, "I'll see you in week, I'll see you in week 5," but that doesn't mean he's playing. I mean, he didn't play to practice, but. One guy just telling us on the YouTube comments he absolutely will start over Campbell. And come on,
no, no.
Are you kidding?
Campbell. I mean, is one of the guys Vic Fangio talks nicest about.
He is. I don't usually answer questions like this in interviews because people, are they better than you thought? I don't. It's only 2 weeks, but he is better than I thought. As a team, it's a relevant question, but it's a great question on some players getting off to a better start. Because Greg told us, Greg said he was not very instinctive in college because he was new to the position.
Right.
He sure as hell couldn't tell so far.
No, he's been fantastic. He's been great. Bobby King is like the greatest linebackers coach that nobody really knows or talks about out in the sport.
I don't know where they found this. I know he's with the Titans. I don't know who knew him.
Yeah. He was not a Vic actor.
No, whether it's Howie, whether it was Nick, I know with some staffs, like somebody, like the assistants know somebody and they'll suggest them. This dude, and we knew Christian Parker was good. We knew coming in he was good, and he's obviously very good.
Yeah.
This Bobby, we knew Clint Hurt was a stud. He's a stud.
Yep.
I mean, he's everything we thought. But this Bobby King, I didn't know much. I had to talk to one of the former Titans coaches put me on the radar in terms of what he is as a coach, but he's way better than this guy said. So he said he's a good coach, he's a good teacher, but come on, dude, you undersold this guy.
Oh man, the players are really gravitating too with the whole block destruction and everything like that. They love that.
Now, before we move on, and obviously you have to give Vic credit for thinking. I don't know how the hell he knew that Bond could play linebacker, but my God, I don't know what. I know Bond's super smart, and it's one of the all time. I put up with Jordan Mailata, like you could make it up. Like this, he can't be the NFL's best linebacker last season. It didn't happen, but it did.
It did.
But the fact that this dude, and by the way, he's been great so far by the first 2 games.
Yeah, if you were thinking he was going to come back to earth, it hasn't happened.
Exactly.
Yet.
That's why I brought it up. I didn't, when I was asked by Mike Gill, said no. I'm positive. So a friend of mine who was assigned the Eagles, I'll tell you this quick story. He does pro, and he was signed in the offseason. I guess that his GM assigned him like 6 teams, and the Eagles were one of them. He said, I told him about what Greg Cosell told us. He was the best linebacker he graded on tape, but he didn't grade them. But he said he's the best linebacker he saw. He said he said he didn't have the Niners, so he couldn't comment on Fred Warner. But he said I'd have a hard time imagining anyone was better than Zach Bond. And he didn't know anything about Bond because he didn't have his area.
Right.
At Wisconsin, I guess Midwest.
Yeah.
But he goes, this dude is a baller. He goes, oh my God. He couldn't believe it that he's like, this is like, he goes, because I guess in his report, he goes, he was joking, ha ha ha. You couldn't tell he never played linebacker before, kind of thing. So,
right.
Pretty amazing.
Wow, man, you make a good point. I never thought about that. Have a guy like Jordan Mailata and a guy like Zach Bond both on your team really speaks to what you can do, like developing talent in your coaching staff. That's
great job, honestly. And I know everyone wants to give Howie credit, and that's fine. But you got to give this is an elite coaching staff. They've lost some coaches, but you could say all you want about having a lot of talent on the team, but talent needs to be developed.
Yep,
and that is why they're so good.
Hey, fall is planting season. Did you know that many plants and trees actually do better when planted this time of the year? But you got to know where to start, and that's why I love FastGrowingTrees.com. Doesn't matter if you live in the sunny south or if the air's getting a little chilly where you are, the plant experts can help you find the perfect fit for your space. They've got everything your yard needs: fruit trees, privacy trees, shrubs, flowering trees, so much more. And Fast Growing Trees makes it so easy for you to have your dream yard because you can order online and get your plants delivered directly to your door. If you're like me, you're tired of spending way too much money on landscaping. And if you walk into one of those nurseries and you look at all the stuff they have, you have no idea where to begin. That's why you need FastGrowingTrees.com. Doesn't matter about the size of your yard. They got over 6,000 plants to fit any space, and a 14-point quality checklist ensures you will get the best quality plants possible. This fall, they have the best deals for your yard, up to half off on select plants and other deals. And listeners to our show get 15% off their first purchase when using the code BIRDS at checkout. 15% off at FastGrowingTrees.com using the code BIRDS at checkout. Now's the perfect time to plant. Use BIRDS to save today. The offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply. Check out the link below or in the show notes and support the show. All right, moving on to the Rams. They're in decent shape. They're a little banged up in some key areas, though. At the guard, Steve Avila, I think he's a third-year guy now. I feel like he's been in the league forever, but he's pretty good. He's dealing with an ankle injury. And I know they had an undrafted free agent starting in his place last week.
Yeah,
is it Dedich or Dedich?
Yeah, Dedich. Yeah, Justin Dedich, who was so Avila or Avila, however you say. I've gotten conflicting reports.
I've heard him both ways as myself. So
yes,
I'm not sure.
And I've talked to people close to him, and then it's a long story, but I can't.
It's kind of like the Alan Barber thing, where nobody really knows.
I did that one because I called his agent. I said, "Dude, could you help me with this one?" Because the PR staff says one thing, you're saying, and he's saying another.
Yeah, well, apparently Alan was telling people just pronounce it Barber. Like he made it seem like that's how it was supposed to be, and then he later came out and said, actually, it's Barber. So.
And Juquay Parker and Juqua, we couldn't figure it was Juquay.
Yeah, that was a tough one. Yep.
But all right, so Avila, I'm going to call him. So he didn't work on Wednesday. So that's 4 straight practices he's missed. Now that Sean McVay did say he's doing better.
Okay.
This is one of these things when you look at this Rams roster, you say to yourself, how do they do it? The Dedich kid comes in there, held his own. He started. This is his 4th NFL start. It's a great find by Les Snead, who's one of the better GMs in the league.
Yep.
Braden Fisk, by the way, Fisk got hurt in pregame warm-ups last week. Who I don't think he played against the Eagles in the playoff game. If I'm not, he had a knee injury last year. I don't think
he started, but he left early.
He left early. Okay, great. But he was hurt. He got hurt in pregame, so only played 13 snaps versus the Titans.
Yep.
And our guy, Poona Ford, 5'10.5" with 34-inch arms. He played in his place, and another guy did.
Mm-hmm.
But the big one, not that he's really good, but he's their best corner. That's not saying a lot. Kelly Witherspoon, who's done. He broke his clavicle, so he's on IR. But he's the well-traveled guy who one time was really high thought of with the Niners, but they had enough of him. So he went to Seattle, Pittsburgh, and now the Rams. But give the guy credit. He's revived his career, but he's done.
Yep.
So they're going with the well-traveled Darius Williams, who's well into the back nine of his career. He was an original Ram, then signed big money with the Ravens, and
I remember
went to the Jaguars for big money. But he's near the end of his career. And Kobe Durant has been a nice story. And we're going to talk more about Emmanuel Forbes on the pregame show. It's another one. God. I don't know, dude. I don't know how they're doing it with this guy.
What's the over/under on targets, catches, and yards for AJ Brown on in this game, man?
Him. What year was that?
It was 2 years ago when he was a rookie.
I felt bad for the guy. It was like just get the guy out of the game. Like you saw, I don't know if you know this. The guy James, I forget the guy's name for the Giants. He had 4 penalties in 4 straight plays.
Was
it Hudson? Corner? Was it James Hudson?
Yeah, Hudson. Yes, Hudson. James Hudson.
So funny. So I'm driving on Sunday, and I have Sirius on because they put all the games on.
Yeah. And
my man Carl Banks goes, "Get him out of the game now." That's it. Get him. He was pissed.
You have to take a player out of the game if he gets 4.
That's what he said. You got to help the guy. You just get him the hell out of the game.
Right.
But it's like when Forbes was abused by AJ, I felt bad for the guy because he's over 6 feet. But if he weighs 180, it's because I said this in our Patreon chat. He's got an anvil in his arm. There's no way. If you saw Deshaun Jackson when he was a rookie, he might have weighed 157. Like it was so thin. Right, maybe, right. But I mean, this is another thing. I just don't understand how they're getting away with it. I don't understand. Now, I'll say this on our show.
They've never had good corners. It's crazy. I mean, they haven't had good corners since
right, exactly. They overachieve. Chris Schul's done a great job.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. But it's not. Look, going after secondary doesn't mean you need to throw 40 times, which I've kind of learned over the years. I've made mistakes when I said, "Oh, you got to throw it every down." No, you don't. But you got to go after these guys. And we'll talk again. We're going to talk more about that in our pregame with Cosell. But I'm just going to say, I'm going to put it out there now. Hurts is going off in this game. I'm just going to say it. I said this.
I'm inclined to believe you.
I said this last year prior to the Pittsburgh game. I finally remembered it. Because what happened is I get a feeling sometimes when I see Hurts really struggling mentally, like he's just not. It's like with Mahomes, right? Mahomes, this last year, why has he not played as well? He gets in his own head. Andy's done it. He's got the ball out of him and Nagy have gotten the ball out of his hands when he's just trying to do too much. I'm telling you, Hurts is going off in this game. Now, obviously, they've got a great front, but they're really small. Eagles own this team.
Yep.
I'm telling you, when he throws, he's going to do well. Just telling you right now, playing for fantasy. Not that you wouldn't.
It feels like a pick your poison game because either he's going off to AJ Brown against Forbes because history says so, or Saquon Barkley is going off. Because
he's going off regardless. He's going off regardless.
So, I know we sit here and talk it out, and it feels like the Eagles are going to win this game like 63-2.
I'm just telling you. It's not like him. The pass up shot plays. What his thing on? I used to make this joke about him. He had Betty Davis eyes in 2022. His eyes would get so big. When in 22, that's a song by Kim Carnes.
Eric Carmen. I'm sorry, Kim Carnes. Right, yeah.
Good. For those over 50, 50, yeah.
But I'm getting there.
You're getting there, but you know that song from the 80s, Kim Carnes.
Yeah.
But his eyes would get so big because when Jalen would see it, the guys who see it downfield, like Josh Allen, like Lamar, like Stafford, and I put Jalen in that. When Jalen's right mentally, that shit's coming. Excuse my language. I'm saying it. That bleep is coming out. Something was off Sunday. He only did one. It's not like him when he sees 1-on-1 on the outside and AJ doesn't throw it. Like, what are you doing? What was going on with you?
Right.
I can't answer that, but that's what happened.
All right. Well, that is it. I mean, the whole Forbes thing, I've been thinking about that for like the last 48 hours. And I'm
playing AJ. I know AJ Brown has been terrible for fantasy. If I have him, I'm playing him. Get him in your lineup. I don't care who you have. Get him in.
Yeah, if it doesn't, let's just put it this way: if it ain't happening this
I give
week,
up.
Then,
Yeah, I quit.
Then we got to go back to the drawing board.
The Saquon Barkley people, they must be going out of their mind right now. I mean, I get he's probably the first pick overall. We said he wasn't going to do nearly as well. There's no way he could do that. But I mean, I don't know how you could have taken a number one. I don't blame you, but he's going to have a season. I just don't know when it's going to start. This game, it will be this game.
It will probably be. All right. You're going to hear more from us about this Eagles-Rams Week 3 matchup on Friday or Saturday, whenever you're listening to it. The Eagles Inside the Birds pregame show, myself, Adam Caplan, Greg Cosell. We've been getting great feedback on it. We really get through all the X's and O's. That's going to do it for this episode of Inside the Birds, the leading podcast in Eagles Intel. And as always, we thank you for flying with us inside the Birds. Be sure to check out our friends at PHLSportsNation.com. They're enhancing the fans' experience with their coverage of all Philadelphia sports teams. For the fan, by the fan is their motto. So make sure you check them out at PHLSportsNation.com and on Twitter at PHLSportsNation.